Hey YouTube, Catman Awesome here. If you remember from my last video, I said I went to locals, and when I was there, I played Atlanteans. It was pretty terrible the way it played. I had higher hopes for them, as they were really hyped. And don't get me wrong, it is a very good deck, and when Mermail stuff comes out, like Megalo Abyss, this deck will be tier 0. It's going to be that overused. It's not that amazing, it's just going to be, finally a water deck that doesn't revolve around Umi, Legendary Ocean, and Neo Daedalus to win. This is finally a water deck that's just a water deck. And to me, that's really cool, and it has some really neat all-star players, and I'll go through it, and if there's a common reprint, I'll point it out in the new starter deck. So, because the majority of the deck is, I bought 3 starter decks. Some of the staple stuff I added from other things, but for the most part, it's just 3 of the starter deck. So, go over it real quick for some of you guys, and I'll explain what they do because it is a brand new starter deck, and it did come out, like, last Tuesday, so it's only been out about a week. But, start, we have 3 Poseidra, the Atlantean Dragon. Excuse me. And this is their new boss monster for Atlanteans. This is supposed to be our awesome godlike card. He's pretty good. He's a sea serpent. He's level 7, so you can tribute summon him for 2. But his effect, you can tribute 3 level 3 or lower water monsters, special summon this card from your hand or graveyard, and when you do, return all spell and trap cards on the field to hand. And if you do, if 3 or more cards are returned to the hand by this effect, all monsters your opponent currently controls with 300 attack for each. So, that does not matter whose spell and trap cards get sent. You could have 3 set yourself, and you could knock your opponent's monsters down. So if they have Gores out and you can't get over Gores, make Poseidra, put 3 of your own spell and trap cards back, and then immediately set them. So, I mean, you got there's some really good plays with him, and at 3, he can come out. You can get 3 of them out in not 1 turn, I'd say 2 turns, because they've tried to nerf down the boss monsters, because the last 2 structure decks they put out boss cards that were literally broken. Like, there's no other way to define them. So this one cannot stack up to those, but it is still a pretty good card in its own right. That's the Ultra for the deck. The Supers, there's 2 of them, and one of them is Atlantean Dragoons, level 4 Sea Serpent monster. It has all your face-up monster, level 3 or lower Sea Serpent type monsters can attack your opponent directly. When this card is sent from the field to the graveyard to activate or sent to the graveyard from anywhere to activate a water monster's effect, you get to add a Sea Serpent monster from your deck to your hand, no matter what the level, but it can't be Dragoons. So you can't cycle Dragoons into Dragoons like Snow. But basically, you can use Dragoons to grab Poseidra. And this is how they've nerfed Poseidra down. It has to be level 3 or lower. You can't tribute Dragoons and get Poseidra, So you can't cycle Poseidra really fast unless you play a Legendary Ocean, which does come in the structure deck, but it didn't feel really necessary to me, and it threw off all the Exceed plays, so. Here's one of the all-stars of the deck, Atlantean Marksman. And for those of you who don't play on Dueling Network, when this card inflicts battle damage to your opponent, you can special summon 1 level 4 or lower Atlantean Sea Serpent type monster from your deck. Why they made it like that, I don't know. But your basic generic play for this deck is, if you just have pure Atlanteans, is you summon Dragoons, and then you summon Marksman, then you attack directly with Marksman, special summon out of your deck. Pretty explanatory, pretty awesome. And when it's sent to the graveyard to activate a water monster's effect, you target a set card your opponent controls and destroy it. So, either way, he can help a lot. He can be a tremendous help for swarming and exceeding, for sinking with Diva, and for getting out Poseidra and getting extra destroys, so if they set monsters, you can still get rid of them. Here's Heavy Infantry, which I will probably refer to as Armsman a few times later on, because I'll forget that it's Heavy Infantry. Because he was Armsman on DN. So, Armsman, or Heavy Infantry, I just did it. You can normal summon 1 level 4 or lower Sea Serpent type monster in addition to your normal summon. So you can normal summon Heavy Infantry, and then normal summon a Diva, which is not a very good play. because you can only gain his effect once per turn. So normal summon him, normal summon Diva, special summon him out of the deck, normal summon again, doesn't work. But normal summon Diva, normal summon heavy infantry, normal summon heavy infantry, overlay for the for Dark Mist, no problem. Last of the Atlanteans, we have Attack Squad. This card came out last set and just got a common reprint, which is kind of funny. I don't know why they didn't just wait to release it with the Atlanteans, because it didn't have any support before, really. But he's their big beat stick. He's your big thing that you grab with Marksman, because you attack with Marksman, you hit him for 14. You special summon Attack Squad, and Attack Squad's attack is only 14 at first, but its attack becomes 22 will you control a face-up fish, sea serpent, or aqua-type monster other than itself. So, if you got Dragoons out, you hit him for 35, and you can walk away on that. You know, that's pretty awesome, but he doesn't get an effect when he gets ditched, so he's not as good for that. Then we have Deep Sea Diva, which does have a common reprint in the 10, or in the, not in the 10, in the starter deck. I just had the rares, I'd already gotten them for Gishkis before they limited Gust Kraken and made me cry. So, you know, this card, in this deck, has more reach than in any deck ever before. Now it's not only for, because previously primarily, all you did was you'd summon it, and you'd grab like another Diva out of your deck, and you make a Gotchi, and you'd end your turn. You know, you just make yourself a quick little rank 2 shield. With this deck, you can use this card to bring out your heavy infantry, and then use heavy infantry's effect. I've actually had this happen. I didn't have this happen at locals, and I wish I did, because I would have won. But when I was playing it, you know, deck testing it and everything, I would draw 2 Divas. Diva into heavy infantry into Diva, get your Marksman. If you drew Poseidra, you just got Poseidra and a Marksman. You hit them directly with Marksman, and then you get out a Attack Squad. So, I mean, that's a huge play, and that's why they're so explosive, but you have to draw. You have to draw really well. So, that's something with these. Lost Blue Breaker, common reprint from the starter deck. Pretty good card. A decent Diva target. I wouldn't go for it often, and in fact, I draw it way too often, so I like it, but it's got very limited uses in this deck. And finally, we have Abyss Soldier, which I only use in this deck because he's the only one who can ditch my Dragoons. Other than that, he has like almost no synergy with the deck, being a level 4 instead of a level 3, being an Aqua instead of a Sea Serpent. He does not match the deck at all. And if I can find a Sea Serpent that will send them, like when Megalobyss comes out, these will go right out of my deck. I will go buy 2 Megalobyss, even if they're like $10 a piece. I'll buy them. I don't even care. Just get rid of these things. We got our staples: Heavy Storm, Dark Hole, Book of Moon, Reborn. We have the last of the supers from this new starter deck, Call the Atlanteans. It's a quick play spell. Target 3 level 3 or lower Sea Serpent type monsters in your graveyard. Special summon all 3 of them. You can't special summon a monster during the turn you activate this card. So the whole play with these is you set this, and then on your opponent's end phase, you bring back your 3, and you sack for a Poseidra. So if you've done that for Poseidra once, you can do it again out of your graveyard. So it can really mess them up and really make it harder for them to come back off of big plays. And even if they try and heavy it, you can chain it just to get yourself some shields. And you know, if you bring out 3 heavy infantry, they're going to have some trouble getting over them. Not a lot, because they're only 1600 defense, but they're the only defender of the deck. So, they can be annoying. Moray of Greed got a common reprint. Best cycling card maybe of all time, because it's at 3. Shuffle 2 water monsters into your deck, draw 3 cards. Perfect restock. 2 salvage, another common reprint from the structure deck, but only run 2 because it's a little bit cloggy. 2 surface, I actually have the supers of these, but I'm just running the commons because I don't really care. Special summon a level 3 or lower fish, sea serpent, or aqua-type monster in your graveyard. Just basically get you back your heavy infantry and stuff like that. Then we have Solemn Judgment, Double Compulse, and Double Torrential. And Torrential did get a common reprint again too. But the only reason I don't run Solemns in this deck, this full Solemn Brigade, is because I only have the 2 warnings, and they're already being used in my hero side deck. So, onto the extra deck, which has had some changes since I played it. Because I traded for some stuff after I was done. Gachi Gentetsu at 2, because this card is really easy to make. It's really good. Give your monster a little 400 attack point boost. We have Dark Mist. Because in theory I can make it, as I said, I can go Diva into Armsman, and then normal summon Diva, and I can make Dark Mist, so kind of awesome. Or even another Armsman. It can happen, that's the only reason I run it. For one of the things I added, Chronomaly Crystal Chrononaut, because it's like a Zen main's in attack position, so your opponent will take some battle damage. It's pretty awesome. I've wanted to run this card for a while, and I just haven't been able to find one, and I found one yesterday, and I traded it. Pretty sweet deal. Black Ray Lancer, the most underused effect negating card in the entire game, simply because there was nothing before that could make it. You know, getting 2 level 3 water monsters out. Wind-ups could make this card, and that's about it. You had, because of a Shark, if that you may, other than that, no deck can make this, and since, I'd like to say 85% of your monsters are level 3 water, he's pretty easy to make in this deck. Plus, they swarm level 3 is pretty easy. 1 Zen mains, 1 Giga Brilliant, 1 Leviathan, 1 Acid Golem. I only run it because it's a water. If it wasn't a water, I wouldn't think about it. But for the Synchros, we have 1 Catastor for that anti-meta play, 1 Black Rose to nuke the field, Ancient Fairy to deal with Dark Worlds, Stardust to stop destruction effects. I don't run Starlight, but I can still make it pretty easily. Scrap Dragon for that free pop, you know, get rid of some of those annoying cards that you dead draw and get rid of some of their stuff. And Thought Ruler Archfiend. And Thought Ruler Archfiend is my favorite synchro, probably of all time. He is just that cool to me. He's got a great effect, and he's a psychic, and I like psychics. Which, by the way, is another deck I do want to build. So, that's about it. That's my Atlantean deck I played. If you have any suggestions, PM me, leave it in the comment section below. Hit me up on DN, Fish098, and I'll see you guys later.